I had this 20-minute video that I was going to post. I spent all day yesterday working on it, editing it and everything. And when I was getting ready to post it, I couldn't get it to save. I couldn't get it to upload because it kept saying error. I used this iMovie app to edit my videos and it would not save for anything. It was an error, kept saying error. And the Lord had told me to put this video out. I was urgent because every time I started not to put the video out, I started to say, oh, well, I don't need to put the video out. But it's like the Lord kept saying, put this video out, put the video out. But they did not want it to get out there because I had this, like I said, I had this 20-minute video with all this evidence, with all these things on here. And they stopped it from loading. But over the last few days, I'm starting to feel a bit better today, but over the past 3 or 4 days, I've been feeling like I'm gonna have a heart attack. And I probably did have a heart attack, but the Lord sustained me. I was very short of breath. I've been having flutterings in my heart palpitations, chest pains, all of it. And it was hard for me. I couldn't get up and I was so tired. And the Lord's let me know that my heart cannot take the stress. It's coming to the point where my heart was having so much strain on me. It was almost like heart failure. I was in a state of almost heart failure because the constant fluctuating my weight, as you all know, I talked about it over the past weekend, this weekend that had just passed, the previous weekend. I could not post a video for 3 days, and I kept trying to get a video up, and they were fighting me and didn't want me to post a video. That's because I had all this fat on my body. I had all of a sudden had all this weight that came on overnight, all over my stomach. My whole abdomen was big, and it was all this fat all over my stomach. My waist was wide and heavy. I had fat all over my breasts, all over my thighs, all over my buttocks, and it was all over my daughter. My daughter had her stomach was huge. Her abdomen was just protruding. And this fat wasn't there the previous day, which just came upon us all of a sudden. And the Lord already let me know for years that every time this woman who had been casting her burdens upon me, every time she had an event to attend, a party or outing or somewhere with her friends or wanted to attend a date or go out just in the public limelight, she would cast all her burdens upon me by putting fat all over my body, taking my DNA, stealing things, putting scratches on me. She could steal my youth. I have all these scratches and marks all over my body. Look at this scratch right here. This is a scratch. I wake up every day and I see all these different scratches on here. You can look at my eyes right now. You see all these dark circles under my eyes. Usually sometimes I'll cover it up with makeup, but I don't want to cover it up today because I want you all to see it. I don't know if you can see it really good on this camera, but you know, I've been praying. I've been praying for a long time to move this woman out of my soul that she's been holding on to me for a long time, destroying everything about me. And she comes and she'll put scratches on me to keep taking my DNA, to keep taking my blood, to keep merging herself with my soul. I know a lot of you do not think this stuff is real. You probably have not experienced anything like this. This is so bizarre. And this is why I talk about this, because this is happening with a lot of people. My skin color, my physical features and everything, because she was afraid to go out and look how she wanted. She was her true self. She was filled with ego and pride, and she wanted to hide how she truly looks and keep it hidden. And so every time she would go out to this event or go out in public, she would cast her burdens upon me and my daughter. She would put her mental illnesses on us, everything, and she suffers from all these things. And the Lord was letting me know she suffers from depression, anxiety, all this stuff. And so for the past weekend, for the whole week, I was eating uncontrollably, me and my daughter both. She kept eating. My daughter told me she felt like she couldn't stop eating. And I normally eat a healthy diet, I was binging on junk food, processed foods, and I normally can go the whole day without eating. I normally don't have a very large appetite. I can go by one meal sometimes, and I can be sustained off one meal, but I just continuously kept going back and forth eating. I just couldn't stop. I just kept eating. And I had all this fat on me. And the Lord was letting me know because I couldn't even get up. I was feeling really tired. Normally I can get up and get my day started early in the morning. And I wasn't able to do that. I was having a hard time. I still was able to clean my house, tend to little things, but it was like I stayed in the house. I was afraid to go outside. I couldn't even take the garbage out. My son took the garbage out. I couldn't even check my mail. I didn't go outside to check my mail. I didn't go out my house for a whole week. I stayed in my house for an entire week. And I was cooking dinner very late. Like I was doing dinner. I was getting dinner prepared. It was late at night. I was cooking dinner about 8 o'clock at night. Well, I would have dinner ready by 8 o'clock at night. Normally when dinner's ready early, about 6 o'clock. I have dinner ready because I don't work. And so I was wondering what's going on. I kept falling asleep. I was so tired and drained. I could not stay up, and I was trying to get things done. I could not tend to it. I didn't feel like doing anything. And I was just so tired. Just doing one thing made me so tired. And the Lord was letting me know that this woman was putting her burdens upon me, her depression, her anxiety, her mental illnesses. She was putting it upon my daughter. My daughter was struggling for an entire week, talking about how she wanted to harm herself. She sat in a stupor. She just sat watching TV, and she would not wash her body again. She would not clean up. She would not take a shower. She would not change her clothes. And she was walking around for days like this. And this woman has been putting her burdens upon us for years, putting her mental illnesses and stuff on us. And so as I saw myself gain all this weight over the weekend, I saw all this fat on my daughter, I saw us eating uncontrollably, I said, well, let me go and look and check and confirm. I went to this woman's social media page, and lo and behold, she had all these posts up, all these videos and pictures taken about her, this extravagant gala that she attended. And I was just upset. I was angry. I'm like, how long do I have to keep carrying this woman's burdens? This isn't right. And the Lord, it wasn't only just the burdens that I was carrying, it was my children suffering. Like I said, this woman been casting burdens upon my children for years, especially my daughter. She started as early as probably maybe 8 or 9 years old. I saw my daughter getting acne all over her face, sitting in a stupor, being very depressed. When she was happy at first, an outgoing girl, her whole mood had changed, and she was going back and forth with her hair coming out, her hair texture changing and everything. And the Lord had let me know that for years, this woman had been putting her burdens upon me and my children, taking from my daughter, stealing her beauty, stealing everything. And it got to the point my daughter was so overweight one time, because when she went to foster care, this woman was putting her burdens upon her. My daughter had gotten so obese that she ended up getting diabetes. She was so sick. She was passing out back and forth, having stomach problems, passing out. Her blood sugar was dropping. It was up and down. She was going back and forth to the hospital, and all this stuff was happening. And this woman had been for years putting her burdens upon us. And I had prayed for her. I prayed for this woman, but she did not want God. Every time I prayed for her, it's like she used it as if, have you ever noticed if a person goes to the hospital, maybe a person who had a heart attack and they get a new heart, or they go to the hospital, they get a second chance, someone gives them a heart transplant, and the doctor tells them to eat healthy, keep a diet, stay active, don't go back to your old lifestyles of drinking, smoking, eating unhealthy, and all this other stuff. And if the person takes for granted, they get this new heart, and they take it for granted, and they go right back to their same bad lifestyles. And that's what this woman was doing. Every time I prayed for, the Lord was letting me know she was just using the prayer as just a way to escape judgment, just a way to alleviate herself of the burden. But she kept going back doing the same thing. She didn't want God. They didn't try to carry their own burdens. They wouldn't go to God themselves. And as you know in the Bible, when Jesus Christ confronted the man who was lying by the pool, he asked him, do you want to be healed? And he told him to pick up his bed and carry. He had to do what was required to receive his healing. And just like when the adulterous woman was caught sinning, when Jesus gave her grace and mercy, he said, go and sin no more. And what this woman was doing is her and her family have been casting the burdens for me and my children for years. And I would pray for them, and they would keep putting their burdens upon us, but they would not go to God themselves. They would continue in their sins. They would continue to do what they wanted to do. And all they wanted was just for us to carry their burdens. They just expect us to keep carrying their burdens. But it's gotten to a point where the burdens have really affected us. And God wanted me to post this because, see, he wanted her to come back because it's time for her to start being accountable. And I'm at the point where God's saying, all the stress that she's put upon me, gaining weight, losing weight, every time she put the fat on me, I lose it. God would help me lose it, or he would take it off and she put it right back on. And this has caused a strain on my heart to the point where I can barely breathe. She hear me right now. My heart is still hurting. We prayed last night. I felt a little bit better, but my heart is still hurting. I told God, because the Bible says not to love our lives into death. So I told God, I says, I'm okay with it. Even though I don't want to leave this earth prematurely, and I want to stay here to be here for my kids and my grandson. I want to live for them. I said, Lord, if you want to take me on out of here, then go ahead, because I'm okay with that, because I am tired of living a life where I am just here to carry the burdens of other people who will not do anything for themselves. These people, many women, men and women who are older than I am, some my age, some older, have been putting their burdens upon me for years, and they don't want to go to God. They don't want to do what is needed to pick up their cross and get help for themselves. This woman, as I'm talking about, she's 40 years old. She's been putting her burdens upon me for a long time. Her sister, her niece, her mother, all these people, her brother, all those people in her family. And she does not like God. She often quotes things and mocks God, posts things that you can see. She'll mocking things about God, just talking about it. And she doesn't want God. She has some type of underlying hatred and bitterness. And this is the thing, as I talked about in the previous video, when you don't forgive and you don't expect to suffer, even though you yourself committed sins, you want to hold unforgiveness and harbor unforgiveness in your heart. You can't release the pain. So you have this resentment towards God, and so God can't work with you. So they have underlying resentment and bitterness. And so there are demons inside of her. She can't get healed and delivered because she won't forgive. Not only that, she's been doing things herself. She's been doing things herself to my children. So whatever happened to her, I don't know. I can't speak on it. I know God showed me some things that happened to her. But the thing is, if you don't forgive those who hurt you, God can't forgive you. And she's been doing things. God saved her many times. He already showed me many times where things were supposed to happen, could have happened to her because of the burden she'd been putting upon me and my children. And I went back, despite what she has done to me and my children. I went back and prayed for her to have mercy, but she took the mercy for granted. And she keeps casting her burdens upon me. She will not do what she needs to do. She keeps covering it up and lying. Other people keep praying for her, helping her, justifying her sins. And as you know in the Bible, it talks about those who justify the wicked and condemn the righteous, that they're an abomination unto God. And she goes back and has other people pray for her to get her out of her trouble. And she goes right back and casts her burdens upon me and my children. I am at the point where this woman has stolen my entire life, her and her family. They have put their burdens upon me. I have not been able to do what it is that God has told me to do. I had a ministry. He wanted me to write books, do all these things. She's hijacked it, blocked it, kept buying herself to hurt my soul, putting her mental illnesses on me and my daughter for years. And I was doing things, I didn't know why I was doing it. And it was her putting her mental illnesses and burdens upon me, her forming soul ties, violating us. They would scratch us, take our DNA and do. Sorry, the whole video cut off. Like I said, they don't really want me to get this message out. Keep saying I don't have enough storage on my phone, even though I have like over 8 gigabytes of storage left. But anyway, like I said, they'll scratch me in the middle of the night. I wake up with scratch marks all over me, marks that look like burn marks all over down my legs. And my daughter will have marks. She used to have marks over her. And like I said, the Lord let me know that they were sexually violating us, doing things to us in the middle of the night so they can keep forming soul ties with us. And as I want to talk about my daughter, this is another reason why the Lord wanted this message to come out, that they've been fighting so hard to keep this message from coming out. Because my daughter recently had been talking about divulging that she's been feeling things humping her in the middle of the night. And the Lord already let me know that they were doing things to sexually violate and assault me. They would try to make me go to sleep, and I would stay up as long as I could, fighting my sleep. And in the middle of the day, I would just be dozing off. Normally I could stay up, and I would just doze off. And they would do things to me so they can form soul ties, sexually violate us, so they can keep attaching themselves to us, so they can keep stealing from us and putting their burdens upon us. And this is happening to my daughter. As you know, my daughter was taken out of the house. This is one of the reasons why my children were removed from the home years ago, when we were talking about how my ex-boss was sexually violating me. And the Lord let me know that they're both doing it. They're both coming here and astral projecting and doing things to us while we're asleep, doing things to form soul ties with us, violating our bodies, violating our rights, and making it seem like we have a mental illness. As you know, I was taken out of the house. They labeled me as a schizophrenic, said I had all kinds of mental illnesses, said my children had the same, put them on all kinds of medications. And we went through a lot. We went through a lot because these people have been casting their burdens upon us. And when I was sitting in a stupor years ago, it was because this woman was casting her burdens upon me and my children. And the Lord's ready now, because he has given them many opportunities to come to him, but they don't want to. They want to continue to be rebellious and disobedient. They want to continue to do what it is that they want to do, and they want to keep expecting us to carry their burdens. It's at the point where we have carried their burdens for our entire lives. Our whole lives were stolen. Like I said, my son was a highly intelligent child. Many people have said that he had the brain to be like an engineer. He was very smart, and he loved to problem solve. And I remember even going over him with certain math he was doing back in elementary school. Recently, I tried to help him do some schoolwork, and he couldn't even do basic algebra. Everything, it's like everything he had learned over all the years was just swiped out of his brain. He couldn't even do multiplication. He felt so bad. He just went and left the house and went for a walk because he felt dumb. And it was embarrassing. It's embarrassing for him to have to carry that burden at 17 years old, when this family was allowed to take everything. This woman was taking everything, all the knowledge and intelligence out of my son, all the intelligence and knowledge out of me to give it to herself and her son. All these people have been stealing from us, many people, not just their family, but others, people in our family, people all over. And we're at the point where we sit here with nothing. And even though I talked about in the video before, God created us to do great things. What he gives to us, it was meant for us. What he gives us people, we're not supposed to steal. It says in the Bible, thou shalt not steal. And he put knowledge and talents and gifts inside of us so that we could fulfill his purpose. And the kingdom of darkness, people who don't have these things, or they don't go to God to seek his help And they might have been born with certain hindrances, certain disabilities, or maybe their parents did things. Maybe their parents took drugs or drunk alcohol, or maybe they were just born with certain disabilities. Like I talked about before, some people are born with hindrances so that God can receive the glory in their lives. Some people are born with these thorns in their flesh, and instead of them accepting the thorns so that they won't become puffed up with pride, and so they'll have to rely on God, they go and take matters to their own hands, and they'll seek source in witchcraft and steal from other people. I'm at the point where I can't even hold I can't even hold any type of information in my brain. If I can get through a book, which I talked about before, I can barely read books now. If I'm able to read any type of book and sit down, I can't even remember what I read. If you ask me about it 2 or 3 days later, all the knowledge is just swiped out. I can't obtain any more knowledge or hold it. They have destroyed my brain. They have destroyed my son's brain. We were highly intelligent people. And these people have sought us out and took everything from us, cast their burdens upon us. The Lord told me to start back writing. He wanted me to write, and I couldn't. I sat down on the computer. I can't even write anymore. It used to just flow and come to me so easily. They destroyed everything. And it's like I'm at the point where I don't even care anymore. I said, Lord, this is your life. You created me. If you don't want me, if you want my purpose just to be here and sit here, and this is what you want, I know that's not what he wanted. But that's what happened. It was allowed to happen. It was allowed to happen because people did not carry their burdens. People did not do what they're supposed to have done. And as he showed me a lot of people in the church, this was not even my burden to carry. I was young. I had just come back to him. And I knew nothing about all the spiritual warfare. And he had to make me do this, put this all load on me, because other people who were in the church who had been there for years had expertise and were dealing in the ministry, knew how to do all the stuff they wanted to do, what they wanted to do, and they wouldn't be obedient to him. And they wanted to just go to church and turn it into a business where they just make money, and they were being rebellious. And so he put all this burden upon me. One woman and her special needs children. And we lost our lives as a result of it. My children had to suffer. I sit here today with nothing. The Lord told me to start many businesses and ministries. I've tried. Everything was blocked, written many books, and I sit here with no money in my bank. And my bank is in an overdrawn status right now. While the people who have done these things to us, like I said, they get to boast about how much they have, even though they have stolen everything out of us. They have taken our communication skills, our knowledge, all these things, because they were puffed up with pride, and they wanted to live a lie. They lived a lie. They were allowed to live a lie and have us carry the burdens for years, and we have suffered as a result of it. And this is not right. It's evil.
This might sound egotistical, but I really don't mean it that way. I am blessed and fortunate to be attractive. Now, I didn't say I was beautiful. I said I'm attractive, and that's something that I know, and I know how to be attractive. I know how to bring out the better sides of myself visually, and I'm talented. And I don't try to be anybody else. Now, if you stick me with a jazz person, I'm not going to become jazz. I'm going to stay what I am because I'm good at that, and people accept me for that, and I win.
We don't talk enough about how Black people strongly dislike Black women, and specifically dark-skinned Black women at that.
It cracks me up when people think because I'm fat, I can't bag a 10. Not only can I bag a 10, I can bag your father. Talk to me nice.
If your body breaks down, you can't claim somebody else's body. You can claim somebody's car, somebody's house. You can't claim somebody else's body. Take care of your body. You only have one. Just one. Imagine you only have one coat to wear for the rest of your life. Will you not take care of that coat? Will you not? That's the same way we have to look at our bodies. Your body is carrying your spirit. But what do you do when the body is sick and can't carry the spirit? John said, I wish above all things that you prosper. You prosper in all things. As you're prospering in your soul, you want to prosper in your health. If my car breaks down, I can call an Uber. But if my body breaks down, I'm stuck. There's no Uber. Hallelujah.
People never lie to you to protect you. They lie to you to protect themselves. When people want to protect you, they tell you the truth. They let you know what's going on. They keep you aware of everything that's going on around them. People lie for their own selfish gains. They lie because it benefits them and not you.